My name is Luke Matias, and this is the Mind Body Matias series.
What does digestion mean to you? No doubt if you saw the title of this podcast or piece, you'd be thinking it was going to be a diet sort of program or how I eat or whatever that might be, some form of aesthetic type scenario. Most of you will think food here, but digestion to me is how your body copes with everything that enters it. Yes, pizza and ice cream and chicken and broccoli, digestion of course, but also that mentality behind Hump Day Wednesday. Are you happy versus are you enthused? Are you motivated versus are you dull? Are you in a mood versus bringing people up, bringing people down, people bringing you up and bringing you down? Digestion closely follows love for me in one of those words that is just beyond powerful. I'm so curious and absolute in my personal quest to be, I suppose, a more powerful human. And here is my take on what digestion means to me. There are two sides. There's obviously the physical side, but when I actually talk about digestion, I often in my mind am thinking more about the mental side. Picture this. You wake up, you Facebook, you look at who's moaning about what, you look at the news, it's negativity, always negativity in the news. You worry and moan about being tired or not having slept well to your partner. You eat and you get to work and you speak to people at the water fountain or whatever that looks like about certain negativities to try and get on their level. It might be the weather, it might be 40 degrees one day, it might be 22 the next. It might be this, it might be that. You go about your business, you speak to a client and they say, how are you? And you say, well, look, it's nearly the weekend, so it's all good there. Negative connotations. You get to lunch and then you hit the afternoon and you're tired. You're in a slump again and you look at the news and it's more negativity and you just move through the rest of your afternoon floating in and out of social and floating in and out of comfort. You get home and you're tired and you don't have the energy mentally or physically for maybe your children or your loved ones or your dog or whatever that might be. And so you get short, mirroring what's on the inside to those around you. You're tired, you watch some junk TV, you eat, and then you try and get to sleep and telling yourself the only way to make you sleep is by having that phone in your face while you're in bed, beaming all that blue light into your soul. Telling yourself that's the only way. You go to sleep, you don't sleep well, you wake up, and you repeat. That is a common scenario here. Some will laugh, some will cry, some will probably stop watching this piece right now, but some will listen. I'm fascinated by the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza and his quantum physics scenarios. He states commonly that your environment is shaped. Your environment is controlling how you think and feel subconsciously. Your environment, your chosen environment, is shaping the way you think and feel, whether you like it or not. Your chosen environment is shaping the way you think and feel. This first scenario that I went through is a common sort of person. It's a common mindset all over the world. And think right now, if you're around that person, let's put a name to him. Let's put a name to him. Let's call him John. Just the closest John I have to me is a pretty damn inspirational human. So just out of fun and irony, I'll call this person John. You hang around with John every day, in and out, and you listen to that. You see this person discuss exactly what he's just discussed and his mindset every day. Guess what's going to happen to your mindset? It's going to be brought down. If you are the John, guess what you're going to do to others around you? You're going to bring them down. And it's going to create a team of Johns. And That is the digestion you are choosing. You are choosing that path, and it is not going to get you to where you would dream your life to be. Now, I don't know the macro behind it, but there's that common saying that you become the 5 closest people to you, or the 7 closest people to you, or whatever that is. I don't know the exact science behind it, but this thing is so true. This thing is so true. If you hang around with 5 Johns moaning and doing that life and living the same thing on repeat and no inspiration, you're going to become John, little bit by little bit. And if you're with Johns for 5 years, you're going to become that John every day a little bit more. Yet, if you go and hang out with Richard Branson and Oprah Winfrey and Elon Musk and Tony Robbins, let's just say for a second, what's going to happen to you? If you hang around with those people solely for the next 5 days, for the next 2 weeks, for the next month, what's going to happen to your mindset? You're going to be flying, whether you like it or not. It's probably going to take a little bit of a while to break through these things and break through these barriers that you created for yourself in your subconscious. But whoever you are, if you hang around with world leaders, with key people of influence, you will become bigger, you will see more, you will grow. That's that 5 people you hang around with most. And you know what? For the first time in history, this is actually possible. You know, this isn't a throw out to just these people, but I can surround, if I'm down and I'm listening to John all the time, I can, if I want to, step back and listen to Richard Branson's podcast, or Tony Robbins' experience, or Robin Sharma's life mastery sessions, or whoever it might be, and spend more time with these world leaders than I do with those people around me bringing me down. Mental digestion is every piece of information that you allow to enter your body, and you are allowing it by hanging around with negative people, beings, by surrounding yourself with the news or social media. And even in social media, inside social media, you hear all the time, Facebook's so rubbish now, it's all negative, it's blah, blah, blah. It is purely, Facebook, Instagram, they're all purely an extension of who you are. You are engaging with the negative stories, you are commenting, you are liking, you are discussing them in your circles. That's what Facebook as an algorithm, as an unemotional algorithm, will give you more of. If you want to stop that, if you want to break that feedback loop, stop looking for negativity. Remove following, remove people from your account, remove likes to these negative pieces. Break the feedback loop. Because if you want to change mentally what you are digesting, you have to physically go and do something with it. Don't just moan and put more negativity out into the world because of what you choose to follow. Everyone's got that. If you're not into podcasts, whatever, you've got the opportunity to do something, to change. And right at the base level, everyone's got that one person in their lives who's inspirational. You know, that inspirational friend or that go-getter. Who every time you go to and have a coffee with them and discuss life and love and business and kids, that you just come out just feeling on top of the world, and you just say to yourself, I've got to hang around with this person more often because if I feel great. But then you don't. Then you go back into your previous life of John and carry on. Find that inspirational person, break that feedback loop, get around them and be around that person more. Find more people like them. Control what you control in terms of the social media, in terms of the news. Watch what you want to watch. Don't watch what others dictate to you, because it becomes an addiction. It becomes an addiction to distraction, and I know all about this. It's just giving you an ease mentality. For me, digestion of mental information is so key, because it's like a poison. Once you allow the victim on the outside to come in and really affect you, you get comfortable with it, and then you watch the same junk, you do the same things. Take a moment to stop stop, drop, and roll right now. Do something different for a day. Do something different for a week. Commit to it. Commit to yourself. London School of Economics says 66 days is what it takes to become, to have a new habit, to form a new behavior in your psyche. Imagine you could do something positive for 66 days. Listen to these people, these leaders of industry, these leaders of influence. Where will you be? Not listening to the same dreary people. And I'm not saying you've got to go out and just break up with friends, but time is something everyone preaches that is the most important thing in the world. I actually think it's attention. And I'm not sure where I got this from. But I can spend 5 hours with my daughter Faith and think I'm ticking the boxes. I'm spending loads of time with my daughter. Where my mind during that 5 hours is on Facebook. It's over here. It's in the news. It's on email. It's doing all these different things. And I'm sure she loves it. But time versus attention. Imagine if I had 1 hour with her and I gave her every piece of my being, attention-wise, and just purely concentrated on her or whoever that person might be. Are they going to feel better with that 1 hour? Am I going to fill their heart up? Attention is the key here. And in our current life, attention is being dragged in a million directions. And yes, for the people looking to grow mentally and physically and emotionally, we have access to so much positivity. We have access to do what we want to do on our terms. But we've also got more and more access to the things that bring you down. This is a conscious decision. You have to make the choice to deviate your attention from things that bring you down to things that bring you up. Find that inspiration and follow it. Follow it. And the change this would make in your psyche, in your mindset, in your person is so obvious. It just requires, I suppose it requires small little changes and just done consistently. You don't all of a sudden need to just be Richard Branson overnight. You just need to make small little changes, deviate your attention from one piece to another. Make certain little changes in your routine and watch yourself grow. Watch yourself grow. And it's to be honest, this is a perfect, I suppose, segue into the other side of digestion for me, which is the physical side. It is the food. It is what you take into your body. It is the hydration. And it's no different really. It's small little changes change the path of your life, and it's totally real. My favorite meal growing up was, I love Chinese, like Cantonese food, and deep fried, crispy shredded beef, those strips, and they're red. They were almost glowing on the plate with chicken fried rice and seaweed with that little powder scattered on top. I could eat this. I've eaten this for days. I actually ended up being fairly obese at one stage in my life because I ate this far too often. I love it. But how can you think that you are going to perform on an elite level if you feed your body rubbish? And again, small changes, consistency. Consistency is the biggest piece to diet. You're not going to get super fit and healthy if you eat one chicken and broccoli meal. You're not going to get super fat if you eat one Canton deep fried crispy shredded beef meal. But it's not about that. It's about the mindset, the consistency behind it. And this isn't an argument on what sort of diet to follow or what you should be eating or a judgment in any way. But if you want to become better, you can fuel yourself better and find out. Do some self-research. Know what you're doing. For me, I've tried fad diets. I've tried going vegan. I've tried vegetarianism. I've tried just eating fish. I've tried all these many different things. Low carb, no carb, low fat, high fat. But the real power became very obvious when I realized what brings me down. And I put this down to 3 things. I measure everything, as I've said many times. Calories, input, output, what difference it makes to my sleep. How do you do that? Wear an Oura ring all the time. If I had a really great sleep, go back and work out what I did that day, what my calendar looked like, what my food looked like, when I last ate, what that last meal was, when I exercised during the day, all these different things. Was I stressed? Did I meditate? Did I breathe properly before sleep? All these many things are ways of biohacking. Is the sort of the word of the decade, or the word of the last period. For me, it became really obvious that I had inflammatory responses to refined sugar. If I go and eat a load of Easter eggs or a load of chocolate bars, I'm going to wake up in the morning, even if I'm under my calorie limit, I'm going to wake up in the morning looking a bit puffy, looking a bit swollen, looking a bit inflamed. If my body's inflamed, just like you roll your ankle and your ankle inflames, there's something wrong with the ankle. If my whole body's inflamed, there's something wrong with my body. That's how I judged it from the start, and it was a very novice way of looking at it, but to be honest, rung so much truth. So refined sugar is no good for me. It's no good for anybody. It's the biggest addictive substance on the planet that is just legal, and it's just going everywhere, and it's just ruining lives. So wherever possible, I try and keep refined sugar out. MSG for me, I love MSG. I love it. It just makes regular food delicious. It makes and addictive. It's a substance that I can't just, once I start, man, I just can eat MSG-ridden foods all day. And the other piece is gluten, and I'm not going to say I'm a celiac, or I'm not jumping on a bandwagon here. All I'm saying is that when I eat gluten, more than just a little touch, my body becomes inflamed, and when I'm inflamed, I can't expect to act on an elite level. These three things are just like being around John on a mental side of things. Something brings you down. How can you think that you're going to get up and grow when I'm eating sugar, gluten, MSG, especially all in one meal? How can I think I'm going to get better? So you work out what brings you down, and you try and eliminate that as best as possible. Read. There's so much information out there. There's so many Google warriors telling you to do these fad diets and remove carbs and do keto. And how the hell are you meant to know? These people saying, "Oh, vegan is the only way, and you'll be the world's strongest man if you're a vegan." No, it's go back to the basics. Read the Human Anatomy, Gut by Julia Enders is an absolutely phenomenal book. And I don't read, I listen. I had to listen to it a couple of times, especially certain pieces 3 or 4 times on my walks, when I'm out, when I'm engaged, in the car, whenever it is. But just knowledge, things to look out for personally. That's where the growth is. It's not listening to someone else. It's not giving your attention to someone else because they're demanding your attention because they've got a fad diet that they're going to sell you an ebook for. No, it's going back to basics and working out what works for you. I enjoy a lot of veg. I eat kilos of veg a week personally, and my whole family. I eat meat. I don't eat as much meat as I used to. I eat a lot of grass-fed, organic meat. I spend the money on organic wherever possible because I don't like the thought of fertilizer going into my body because, again, it's an inflammatory marker. Imagine eating fertilizer. But if you do eat kilos of fertilized veg, as clean as you might think over years and years, how much fertilizer you're eating? Okay, so go back, take a step back, eat better food, more of it, and enjoy and see what difference it makes. I count calories. I had no clue about calories, and I ended up obese. I count calories now, and it's just such a great education. I'm not saying you should go out and do MyFitnessPal for 1,000 days or whatever it is, but just knowledge. If you start entering calories, so you're just aware of those things that say they're healthy on the tin. It doesn't matter. There's still calories in them. And just because chia seeds are super, or peanut butter, fresh peanut butter, do you know that beautiful stuff with the oil on top, which is, oh my gosh, I love it. I eat loads of it, and there's loads of calories. I can happily eat half a tub of peanut butter, a whole tub of peanut butter in one sitting. And that's a day's calories, like 3,000 calories in there. But I'm telling myself it's healthy. I'm eating chia seeds, I'm eating bananas, all these things. They're all calories. And just that little bit of knowledge by poking them into an app, just so you can learn what makes a difference. And so you can see, okay, well, this piece of steak, I love eating a kilo of ribeye steak. But what does that mean? It's 1,500, 1,600 calories for that kilo of ribeye steak. I can't digest it all at once. My body's into shutdown. I'm having a load of chips with it at the same time. Just learn a little bit around what a calorie looks like in the different foods, because everybody here is marketing to you. Everybody is marketing to you and trying to get you to do something that you don't want to do, or you don't know you want to do it. You've got to learn what's behind, what's underneath that plaster, what's behind, the truth behind it, and then what difference it makes to your body. Undereating, overeating, it's all an epidemic here because people don't understand what calories do to their body. And then walking out and being brave enough to make those little changes, like I remember I had a real issue with being out with the footy boys, and everyone would order a Parma and chips. I wanted a steak, and the bravery it takes to say, okay, I don't want chips, thank you, I'll have the steamed veg, let's say. Or just making those common choices. And you get a bit of grief, I'm sure. The boys used to give me grief. The girls might give you grief, whatever it is. But that's going back to that piece where you're making those little changes and you're being the leader of your own destiny. You're controlling your environment. Going back to Dr. Joe Dispenza, you're all of a sudden putting a little piece of control over your environment rather than letting the people around you, your environment, control you. Rather than walking past the fridge and thinking, oh, there's a little bit of something in there for me. Maybe verbalizing it out loud. I don't want to eat it. Why am I eating it? I'm not even hungry. I'm going to hydrate. Making those conscious decisions, going into that stage of intellectual decisions rather than instinctive decisions. Finding out what your inflammatory markers are, eating good quality food, eating whole food, no preserved food. There's no need for it. We live in Australia. Farming is on its knees with the droughts and things like that. Let's support them. Let's eat real food. Don't eat things that are canned and brought over from God knows where with God knows what in them. Eat potatoes. Eat carrots. Eat tomatoes. Fill your body with great substance that will help you act efficiently and elite standard. Don't take shortcuts. Going back to the mental side, don't just watch the news because you think you're up to date on current affairs. You're up to date on whatever the media companies want you to be up to date on. There is so much positivity out there. When did you hear you watch a half an hour segment of news and 99% of it is issues with the world, something bad is happening. Yet every day you would come across some joy, someone doing something magnificent, inspirational for kids, for adults, for mental health, whatever it might be. And that doesn't make it to the news. Yet death and illness and all this propaganda does. It's because it's more addictive to watch the bad. It sells newspapers. It's more addictive to watch the bad than the good. And again, a controlled thing. It's saying no to chips. It's saying yes to steamed veggies with a little bit of butter on them. It's all conscious decisioning. Don't be perfect, but if you can just be consistent in your changes and being consistently good, then you can become consistently better and better. And then all of a sudden you're a positive influence in not only your life, but in the people around you. You're breaking the John habit. You're breaking the negative loop. We spend our best hours of our best days in environments that we choose. Not with the loved ones that everybody spooks. Everybody says, oh, I do it for the kids, I do it for the wife, I do it for the whatever. We don't spend our time with those people. We spend the best hours of our best days in environments that we choose. Well, you owe it. I owe it. We all owe it to ourselves to make sure those environments are on the level that you want them to be on, not somebody else's level. And you can make little changes here. And you can literally write down 10 changes that you want to make, 10 people you want to see, 10 podcasts you want to listen to, 10 pieces of information that you want to gather. And then lead. Do it. Be a leader. You don't need a title to be a leader. Whatever you're doing, as long as it gives you that intrinsic motivation, intrinsic happiness, do it. Be a leader. Robin Sharma wrote a book, Be a Leader Who Has No Title. If you're a janitor or a billionaire, be the best person, offer the best service you can possibly offer. Everything I choose to do is time away from Faith, my daughter. When you look at things like that, you have to make sure, if that's the mindset, you have to make sure every person you see, every coffee you have, every conversation you have has got to be of a level that is worth me being away from Faith. Digestion is more than a word to me. Digestion is a pathway to my future. Every piece I digest, that I consider, that I put in front of me, that I allow enter my body, is a pathway to where I'm going. It might be backwards, it might be forwards. Digestion is a pathway to my future. My name is Luke Matias. This is Mind, Body, Matias. And this is Digestion.